Yo, Still Mills, what's the deal, man? It's Tuesday, finally off the clock. I had to go pick up some madness, like a bathroom flooded. One of the residents left, I don't know, they kind of stopped the sink up and just let the water run. I don't know if I don't know. He works, so, his wife is over there on memory care side, and I don't know if it's employed so he can get over there with her faster because he is not a fan of being separated from his wife. It did. I remember when just dementia really started to set in with her, and she just started really acting out of character. And he's having a hard time coping with it. So he's like, I don't want to have to get up and leave and come over here with her and then go back over there. I'd rather just be over here with her all day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it was a ploy to put a rush job on the shit or what, but I'm running a little late to go pick up my babies because we had to stay behind and handle that, man. So finally off the clock and I'm heading to get my babies, man. But that's neither here nor there. Peep game, man. I want to talk about this weekend's festivity between David Morrell and David Benavidez. Man, listen, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Not an $80 fight though. So I'm coming right off rip. I know a lot of people, the new talking point, which is a fair talking point, is you don't pay for nothing, so you can't criticize nothing. There's clarity to that. There's definitely truth to that. The thing is, with me, I pay for fights that are worth it, fights that are worth that $80. There's not one champion on this card, not one. They just refuse to. They just keep trying to force. Hold it, is Isaac Cruz on this? Is Cruz? I think Cruz. Yeah, they keep trying to force feed us Isaac Cruz, and they're trying to force feed us a fucking Leo Santa Cruz versus Stephen Fulton fight as the co-main event. I'm almost excited, just as excited to see Ramos more so than anybody, man, because I think he's one of them he's one of them ones at 154 pounds, man, and I think him being over there on the PBC is really stunting his growth because it's the action over there is starting to shrivel up. So go on ahead over there with Turkey and get that go get that Saudi money, homie. You did go get that Saudi money. That's what shit. I mean, shit. Unless you're gonna fight Bakram next, why wouldn't they even put him on here? I mean, yeah. I mean, why not put him on here? He fought what, December? I guess it's too quick of a turnaround. So yeah, maybe not Bakram, but you got to do something, man. You got to do something. Why wouldn't they put Fundora as one of the co-mains? That possibly could have made this shit worth it. That possibly could have made this shit worth it, man. I mean, shit. They share a common opponent in fucking Brian Lopez. Why not put him in there? You dig? It's just really it sickens me how they keep trying to force feed us bullshit ass fights and guilt trip us into not paying for it. Or guilt trip us into why we didn't buy the shit. Oh, y'all need to pay for this shit. Fighters don't fight for free. They do this and that and the third. And, y'all. No, I'm sorry. I'm not. You want to support me? Support the fights we want, or make credible fights. But nonetheless, I say all that to say I'm not paying for the fight, but it is a good fight, man. The main event is a damn good fight, and I think the opening fight is a damn good fight between Ramos and Rosario. That's a damn good fight. I'm excited to see that fight. But as far as Benavidez versus Morrell goes, man, listen. There's nothing that Benavidez does that Morrell doesn't do. Maybe except the shoe shining. Maybe except the shoe shining. I don't see Morrell shoe shine too much because I don't think it's necessary, man. I think David Morrell is a lot more precise in the punches that he's throwing. They're more thought out. They're more educated. It did. So I think David Benavidez has him in that regard, but everything else, David Morrell does better than David Benavidez, if we're being real. Better feet, better punching technique, not squaring up. He can step out and dance on you. He can bang in the pocket, cut those angles in the pocket. He. You can almost say, Morrell's a boxer puncher. You can almost say that he's the total package. You can almost say that shit, man. I'm gonna be a little bit hesitant on saying it because I want to see how he does in this fight and how he does in future fights. So, I'll bite my tongue for the time being. There's nothing that David Benavidez does better than David Morrell. There's nothing David Benavidez does better than David Morrell. However, you can't buy experience, and that's the that's the key component in this fight is experience. That's what it's eventually going to boil down to is experience. I think David Morrell's last fight with Radovai Kalajic, I think that was a I think Kalajic is a top. I think I forget what sanctioning body he's top, top 5, top 10 in, but he's at least top 5, top 10 in one of those sanctioning bodies, and I cannot remember which one it is. So it's not a bad win. Kalajic's been in there with Marcus Brown, of course, better Biev. Those are two credible opponents, man. One is a former world champion. One is a sitting undisputed world champion. So it's not a bad win. It's not a bad win. It honestly isn't. It was a damn good acid test for him. But it's not like it's a win against Anthony Yard, better be of a Bivol, or Joshua Watsy, or Callum Smith, or it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. So I think that was definitely his best performance or his best, the best, scalp on his resume. When you look at David Benavidez and who he's been in there with, man, I think that I don't think much of Demetrius Andrade. I honestly don't. I think Demetrius Andrade is I think they really keep finding a way to gas that win, so we can bloviate about David Benavidez's resume a little bit more. And it just so happens that he's another key component in the Canelo Alvarez smear campaign. So it sweetens that that much more. Where Canelo ducked Demetrius Andrade, but David Benavidez fought him and he stopped him in 6 rounds. It's real. It's goofy. You dig? A win for David Benavidez over Demetrius Andrade. It isn't a flex. And why isn't it a flex? Well, it'd have been a flex had Andre did it because Andre isn't as experienced as David Benavidez. So Andre beating Johnny Beck beating Demetrius Andrade would have been a flex. Why? Because Johnny Beck isn't as experienced as neither one of them. He's not experienced as neither one of them. He's never held a title up until that point. Up until Demetrius Andrade, relinquished the belt. But that would have been a flex on his behalf. It's not really a flex for David Benavidez. Why? Because he's been in there with better opposition. I know a lot of people don't think too much of Darrell, but I like Darrell. I think Darrell's a quality opponent. I honestly do. I honestly do. Why it just baffles me why David Morrell was over there as long as he was, and they never thought to put him in there with the likes of a Darrell or the likes of a Caleb Plant. You dig? Or even a Uzcategui or somebody along them lines. There's no reason why David Morrell should have had to wait to jump up and fight a dude in Kalajic to have a legitimate acid test. He could have got that right there in that division, a year or two ago. But nonetheless, here we are. Whatever the fuck ever. But David Benavidez has been in there with him. David Benavidez has been in there. Just to a lesser degree, Andre is a champion, so he has that as he has that to as a benefit for him because Andre was a champion. Do 2 divisions, fought nobody to get the belts, but nonetheless, he was a champion in 2 different divisions. He was a champion in 2 different divisions, man. So you have to give him that. But Caleb Plant and Vosdick, I think Caleb Plant may be his more credible scout, simply because Caleb Plant, he took a year off, but he came back with a vengeance when he did what he did to Andre Darrell, put him to sleep, outlined him in chalk, buried him. Y'all remember the shovel gestures? He did that, and nobody was expecting him to do that. So Caleb Plant is a damn good win. It's a damn good win, and he has that under his belt. And it's not even just that he has a fight of that magnitude under his belt. It's the 12-round experience under his belt multiple times. Is it multiple times? Yeah, he's went the distance a multitude of times. So I'm just like, you gotta give Caleb Plant just when you unpack it, when you look at it from an objective standpoint, Vosdick is a better fighter than Caleb Plant, but Vosdick hadn't fought at the championship level for years, bro. He came off the couch. He was chilling for about 3 years. Came back, fought on, got a few, you know, got some tune-ups in. Bolotniks and the bigger, Brazilian dude, but nothing world level. No world beaters or nothing like that. He really started calling for Bivol, but David Benavidez got to him first. David Benavidez got to him first, and he looked the way that he looked human up there. He looked human. He looked human. You did gassing. He's not, not enough pop on the shot. He's not being able to put a dent in fucking Vosdick. Like, that shit was telling. But he won the fight. I think he won it 8-4. I think it was a relatively easy fight to score. And he has that championship experience once again under his belt. David Morrell hasn't fought a champion yet. And that's the biggest caveat in this fight. It all boils down to experience. And I think if David Morrell wants to win this fight, he's either going to, unless this dude is disciplined enough to completely, pace himself from rounds 1 to 12, he's going to have to go and get rid of this dude early. He's going to have to go and get rid of this dude. And when I mean early, I'm not talking about in the first, first few rounds in the fight. I'm talking at least by round 7 and 8. Round 7 and 8. Because I don't really see, David Morrell being able to completely, spike his level, his level and skill that drastically to where, who's driving him? To spike, his spike his skill set that drastically to where he'd be able to usurp experience. I do think the Radovan Kalajic fight is definitely going to help him out in this fight. I definitely do think that's going to happen. I definitely do. But I think Benavidez being in there with Vosdick as well, because even with Vosdick, in that fight with Vosdick, I've seen a lot more wrinkles. I don't want to say wrinkles because people think that I'm throwing shots when I say wrinkles. I seen a lot more attributes in his game. Attributes being added and implemented into his game in the fight with Vosdick. He was moving his head a little bit better. He's getting his head off of the line a lot better. Rolling under shots, and not even when the shot is coming, just rolling up under the shot just in case the shot is coming to set up the leap and the leap and left hook or the jab or whatever, just to simply close distance, to put mental pressure on Vosdick. I saw that in there. I saw that. It was, and I was like, yo, I see it. I see the growth. I'd be lying if I said I didn't see the growth. I see the growth. I do. I honestly do. In that fight, I saw it. So I think they're both gonna come into this fight a lot more prepared than they was in their previous fight. They are. They're gonna come into this fight a lot more prepared than their previous fight, man. And how I personally see it going, I think David Morrell is going to dominate the first 5-6 rounds. I honestly do. I see the tide start to change between the 6th and the 7th round. Because even in David Morrell's last fight, he started getting real predictable. No jab. He just started throwing the 2-3 or the 3-2. I started seeing that. A lot, man. And he just, his offense slowed down because Kalajic started finding, punching in between the punches. Now, you're not going to have to worry about that from David Benavidez because he's not a counterpuncher like that. He's not a dude who likes to set traps by fighting off the back foot. That's not David Benavidez's game. So he's not going to have that to worry about. Man. But how, we've never seen him under an immense amount of pressure by a dude his size, by a dude who's a world level operator. We've never seen him in that type of position. So we don't know how if he succumbed to that type of pressure. We don't know. But I see him somewhat succumbing. I'm not sure. I don't think a knockout happens. I honestly don't. I'm gonna be real, man. I don't think David Benavidez is about to knock out fucking David Morrell. If anything, I can see him dropping him. I can see him dropping David Morrell. I can see that. You're not about to sit here and convince. You couldn't stop Caleb. Well, I don't want to say that because David Morrell might not. His chin has never been tested. His chin has never been tested. So I don't know, man. I just think, I think David Morrell is a natural 75 pounder. I think he's a natural 75 pounder. And, Caleb Plant isn't as brolic as and as big as David Morrell. He's not. So David Morrell may be able to, he may have the muscle in his neck to absorb those shots properly, the body shots. He may recover well from the body shots a lot, in a more timely manner than, Caleb Plant. They may not have the same effect on him as Caleb Plant did or they did on a Demetrius Andre, because that's a lot of that's what went, that's what played a significant role in how they ended up looking down the stretch. How is David Morrell going to act when when them hooks start getting put in his liver? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, man. I'm not so sure. But I see David Morrell, clearly, clearly showing that he's the superior fighter from at least 1 to 5, easily, easily. But I feel like because of so much animosity going into this fight, that they're both going to be going in there gunning for a knockout. And David Morrell could possibly drop David Benavidez as well, and I think he's banking on it because they're going for the knockout. I can see that, and I can also see him having success in dropping him, but he may not be able to finish David Benavidez. And he's going to exert a lot of energy looking to step on this dude. And when David Benavidez doesn't wane to that, all right, cool, we're in the 5th and the 6th round. We still got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What you going to do now? And I see David Benavidez returning the favor, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. I do know. I think they'll trade knockdowns, bro. I think they're gonna trade knockdowns. I do. I honestly do. I think David Morrell is gonna drop him 4th, 5th round. David Benavidez is gonna get up, weather the storm. He's going to put it on David Benavidez, maybe, going into round 6, and he's going to fuck around and overexert himself and get punished for it for the remainder of the fight. I see that happening, man. I definitely see that happening, man. David Morrell is going to, and I think that's when the repetition of his combinations on how, his offense is really going to start to, permeate to the top. Benavidez is going to be able to pick up on those patterns. He's going to be able to defend himself from them patterns. Not necessarily countering the patterns as making them miss and making them pay, no catch and shoot, nothing calculated like that. But when those shots stop, when they're landing on the gloves, they're landing on the arms, and they're not doing the damage that they was doing early on in the fight, that's going to make you apprehensive. And when you see this dude coming in behind that high guard with vigor, you know what I'm saying, with spite, it's going to put a certain level of mental pressure on you. And I think that right there is going to, wane, force him to wane just slightly. And you're going to see gradually David Benavidez return to the David Benavidez that we know. That's how I see the fight going, man. So yeah, I got David Benavidez in this fight. I got him, I got it in a decision. Damn good fight. I'm actually excited about this fight. I want to see this fight. Just Saturday, I'm like, bet. It's up. So, I want to see the fight. You dig? I'm excited to watch the fight. And I'm going, I might have a few of the homies. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell the homies, hey, yo, man, slide. I'm ordering the Benavidez fight, man. Well, I ain't ordering. I'm not paying for that bullshit. Oh, my mama, I'm not. But nonetheless, it is going to be a good fight. I got David Benavidez in this fight. I think that the PBC will need to rob David Morrell? I'm not so sure about that. Even though if David Morrell does so happen to win the fight, I do think that or if David Morrell just so does, in the hearts of the fans, if he wins the fight, I can see them pulling a fast one. I can see that. But I don't think David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez will win the fight convincingly. If we being real, on experience, man. As skilled as David Morrell is, you cannot buy experience. That is something that you just can't do. And David Benavidez while he doesn't have the most, robust resume, I do think he has his experience completely usurps that of a David Morrell. Completely. Like, it's not even close. David Morrell is not, he doesn't have the resume of a David Benavidez. He doesn't. And those few fights that David Benavidez has had over a David Morrell, that's going to play a significant role in this fight. A very significant role. And that is going to be the story of the fight. That's going to be the story of the fight. He's going to get excited once he hurts David Benavidez. He's going to go balls to the wall, run out of gas, and David Benavidez is going to come on strong. So I could be wrong. I ain't Quasimodo. Shout out to Rummy's Corner. But that's how I feel the fight is going to go, unfold when it goes down on Saturday, man. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'll tap back in with y'all in a minute. Y'all stay righteous, my niggas. Deuces.